Pain is weird. We spend billions every year on drugs and therapies to fight pain, and yet pain is often seen as a gateway to better things. People who say, no pain, no gain, see it as confirmation that their exercise is doing them good. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger tells us that enduring pain is a road to self-improvement. Pain is a cost we're willing to bear for certain benefits. We pay for painful procedures to adorn our bodies with art or jewellery, or we get drunk knowing we'll suffer the following morning. Many medical procedures are painful, but the transitory pain is outweighed by the benefit of the medicine or the treatment. Pain is an essential part of the human experience. But what is pain? How does it work? And what might be different about autistic pain? This channel is only possible thanks to the generous support of our patrons on Patreon. I simply couldn't meet the running costs without them. If you'd like to see more high-quality videos on autistic life, then please follow the link in the description and sign up for exclusive members-only content. Pain is a feeling, a sense. Like hunger, itching, balance, or shortness of breath, pain is an interoceptive sense. It gives our conscious, thinking minds, the part of us we recognise as self, essential commentary on the condition of our bodies. When we injure or overexert ourselves, if we're poisoned or an organ fails, pain jolts us into action. It is the key sense in physical self-preservation. We have so many ways to describe different types of pain. We can be sore or tender. We can have a dull ache, an intense ache, or a persistent ache. We can feel cramp or muscle fatigue. There's burning pain, shooting pain, pressing pain, or throbbing pain. The variety of the pain helps us to know the nature of the problem. Almost every pain we feel we can describe with specific words or phrases that most people can relate to. How pain works on a functional level is simple. Think of our bodies as a network of machines being monitored by a central computer. When one of those machines is damaged, under stress, or fails, a specific signal is sent to the central computer. The signal is nothing more than electrical impulses being sent from the damaged device to the computer hub. It's meaningless until it's decoded by the central computer. For minor problems, pre-programmed automatic responses suffice, but more complex or serious issues require the computer controller to investigate. Our central computers, our subconscious minds, are pre-programmed to flinch or say "ouch", whilst more serious problems require our controllers, our conscious selves, to inspect the injury and decide what action to take. External feedback can play a part too, such as a friend saying, "You really should get that looked at." The basic functions of specialised pain nerves sending electrical signals to the central hub of the brain is a well-understood process in medicine. What's less clear is what happens to those signals once the signal's received. The central computer in the machine network could be reprogrammed to respond to error messages from certain machines differently, or not to recognise the signals at all. Is that possible for people? It took centuries for science to open up to the reality that pain is entirely subjective and selective, but it was an important step forward. Our general health, our happiness, our environment, and our determination to complete specific tasks all modulate our attitude and reactions to pain. People who suffer from chronic pain conditions such as arthritis, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, myalgic encephalomyelitis, and fibromyalgia are often sent to pain clinics. Many of those clinics invest as much in counselling and other psychological techniques to help manage pain as they do in painkilling drugs. Some people can learn to ignore or minimise pain, whilst the rest must learn to live with it. Most people think of pain as being proportional, that the intensity of pain corresponds with the severity of the injury or failure. Yet most people have experienced a paper cut or a splinter that seems ridiculously painful at the time, maybe even more than other more serious injuries in their past. Someone with a chronic pain condition may still feel that intensity of pain from a minor injury, despite a persistent level of pain elsewhere in their bodies. Even against a background of constant pain, stepping barefoot on a Lego brick still hurts as much. Much of the way we react to pain is also social in nature. We all know of the masculine stereotype of the hero who battles through pain and injury to save the day. High pain endurance has long been associated with masculinity in many societies. So much so that countless men avoid seeking medical assistance at the expense of their own health. Along with the myth that real men don't cry, it's become part of the stoic male stereotype that crosses the globe. In reality, no two people will feel or react to pain in the same way. But we've been socialised into a belief that pain is an absolute, and all that varies is our tolerance of it. I remember a conversation I was in some years ago about tattoos. Several people shared my own observations of the intense burning pain of being tattooed, whilst a few others insisted they felt little or no pain from the same process. Was that bravado or honesty? It could actually be either. There's no doubt that some people, particularly men, feel socially obliged to underplay pain, but it's equally likely that they might not experience as much pain from tattooing as the rest of us did. Maybe their brain isn't programmed to interpret that type of pain as intensely as mine. Or maybe they've tuned it out in the way that the pain clinics try to. As autistic people, we know that some of our senses can be over or undersensitive compared to the average, and that can include pain. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have a high or low overall pain threshold, but it does mean that we might feel some specific types of pain more or less intensely than others might expect. Combine that with the candid honesty that's in many autistic natures, and you have a recipe for social confusion that can have dreadful consequences. Autistic people have been known to withstand trauma that would have others writhing in agony, but also to suffer pain nobody else can relate to. I've met autists who find making eye contact physically painful. They feel it in their eyes or in their head. I've heard similar about certain textures and foods, colours and sounds. Signals that might not be a bother to most people might be painful to some autists. On the other hand, an irritation that the same autistic person might take in their stride could be excruciating for most non-autistic people. Some of us also don't get linear feedback from certain types of pain, so we can't judge how painful or serious a problem may be. It could be a simple on or off sensation. No pain versus excruciating pain, and very little in between. A number of autists have described tooth pain in this way, which might go some way to explaining why so many autistic people have difficulty with local anaesthetics at the dentists. If even the tiniest pain signal gets through, the resultant sensation is agony. Pain is not an objective phenomenon. When you make a judgment on somebody else's pain, you can only judge by what you imagine you might feel, not by what they're actually going through. Like all theory of mind, it's an educated guess based on personal history and preconceptions. Even if you think that something wouldn't bother you, it has no bearing on what the other person is feeling, and if they are autistic, it's even more likely that their internal experience is different to yours. Autistic people aren't generally as susceptible to social conventions and peer pressure, so we're far less likely to habitually mask pain for appearance's sake. But years of negative responses from people who don't recognise or understand our pain can suppress our natural urge to seek help, thereby putting us in danger. ABA therapy has historically used pain to incentivise autistic children to behave in a more socially acceptable manner, with the inevitable result that some become traumatised into believing they deserve to be abused by people who demand their trust. Even those autists who have slipped under the radar without being diagnosed have often learned that talking about pain others don't understand invites confusion and ridicule. So, we've stopped telling people. It even gets in the way of medical treatment, because doctors aren't taught about the different ways in which pain can manifest in autistic people. I've not yet been seen by a doctor who could relate to binary on and off pain. If we can't pick a number from 0 to 10, we often find ourselves written off as time wasters. I lost a personal friend to acute cancer because of exactly this kind of misunderstanding and dismissal. Whilst this channel is about autistic life, it's important to bear the message in this film in mind with everyone you meet. Pain is not an absolute, and it's not objective. How we feel and interpret pain is determined by our environment, our social expectations, and more than anything else by how our brains are wired. Autistic wiring may be a little more exotic than some people's, but everyone's experience of pain is unique. Thank you for watching. Don't forget that you can support the channel to continue making high quality videos about autistic life by becoming a patron, or by treating yourself to some Autistic merch. You can subscribe for weekly videos on this link here, or watch another video over here.